watching the national news, you're probably hearing that the housing market is cooling off. But if you're out here touring homes in Apex and Cary, you're probably having a completely different experience. Today, I'm breaking down the April 2026 real estate market data to show you that we aren't just in one market. We're in what I would call a selective market, where your experience depends entirely on the town, the price point, and the type of home you're looking at. We're going to look at three things today. First, why breaking down median prices is so important to really understanding the context of the market. Second, how today's market compares to last year's market and last month's market, because the year-over-year story is not the same as the month-over-month story. And third, we're going to review some really helpful data on homes that sold over asking price, including just how far over asking price buyers have actually been willing to go, and some thoughts on multiple offer strategies for my buyer friends. Are you ready? Here we go. Hey everybody, I'm Heather Taylor, founder of Tailored Realty Group, where we create real estate experiences tailored to who? That's right, tailored to you. If you've been hanging out with me for these market updates for a while, you know that every month I share the median price broken down by town and by type of home, as you can see on the screen here. But this month, I wanted to pause for a second and explain why I do it that way. The combined median prices, which are what is most often shared in the media, can be helpful, but they can also be a bit misleading if you're using them to make real decisions. That median number that you see in the media, that includes everything. We're talking about resale homes, new construction homes, townhomes, single-family homes, and condos. But what really matters to you is the median price for the type of home you're actually trying to buy in the location you're actually trying to buy that home. For example, Apex had a combined median price of $605,000 in April, but the median single-family resale price was $690,000, while the median townhome resale price was just $415,000. That's a huge spread. So for example, if you're looking for a detached resale home, the overall median price may make Apex look more affordable than it is in real life. And if you're looking for a townhome, the overall median may make it seem more expensive than it actually is. And that's why I don't just want you to know the market. I want you to understand the market that actually applies to you. All right, now let's talk about what's happening in the market overall. Remember, when you're looking at the numbers on the screen, green arrows, regardless of if they're pointing up or down, indicate a market speeding up or trending more towards a seller's market, while red arrows, again, regardless of which way they're pointing, indicate the market slowing down or trending more towards a buyer's market. Now, when we compare May 2026 to May 2025, the story looks pretty clear. The market's softer than it was a year ago. We're seeing tons of red arrows here. Across most of these towns, more homes are selling under list price, fewer homes are selling over list price, and days on market is a bit longer. So year over year, buyers definitely have more leverage than they did last spring. But don't let that softer year-over-year data fool you into thinking that the market is stalling out. When we look at just the last 30 days, we're seeing a classic spring surge as evidenced by all the green arrows on our month-over-month comparison. Months of supply dropped in Morrisville, Cary, and Apex. In Holly Springs, it increased to 1.8 months, but that's still super low. And then in Fuquay-Varina, it increased to 3.6 months, which makes Fuquay the softest of the 5 towns from an inventory standpoint. But still, all of the towns are technically in a seller's market. Remember, 4 to 6 months of supply is a balanced market. Anything under 4 months is a seller's market, and anything above 6 months is a buyer's market. So all those towns are still in a seller's market. We also saw some improvement in price reductions and list to sales price ratios, but the biggest shift we're seeing is the increase in the number of homes selling over list price, which was up across all the towns. And the median days on market decreased everywhere except Fuquay-Varina. So what does all of this mean? Well, it definitely means we're not in a crashing market. We are in a more selective market. For buyers, that means you may have more room to negotiate than you did a year ago, especially if a home has been sitting on the market for a while or if it's already had to have a price reduction. But don't assume every house is a deal. In Cary alone, 41% of resale homes still sold over list price in April. In Holly Springs, 32% sold over list price, and in Apex, 29% sold over list price. So yes, buyers have more leverage than they did last year, but the best homes are still getting lots of attention. If you're out there looking at homes, you need to be ready to pull the trigger quickly when you find the home you like. That means be pre-qualified and have that pre-qualification letter in hand. Or if you're buying in cash, make sure you have that money ready and available to wire by the time you get to closing. You should also have discussed your offer strategies with your agent so your agent understands your comfort zone in different situations. For example, how aggressive do you want to be in a multiple offer situation? And speaking of multiple offers, I'm going to put some information on the screen that is so helpful if you are in a multiple offer situation. Okay, check it out. What you're seeing right here is a breakdown of homes that sold over list price by price point, as well as the average and maximum amount houses sold over list price. Now, when we look at the homes that sold over list price, we see the most competitive price point is $500,000 to $750,000. And we see the average amount over list price anywhere between 2.3 to 5.3%, with the maximum over list anywhere between 7.7 and 11.9%. So I know I just threw a ton of numbers at you, and some of you probably feel a little bit like a deer in headlights right now. So I've created a completely separate video that really addresses the question I always get asked by buyers in multiple offer situations, and that is, how do I win without feeling like I got totally ripped off? And here's the thing. Multiple offer situations are an emotional roller coaster. If you lose, you're heartbroken. And sometimes if you win, you're anxious that you may have overpaid. In fact, I get this question so often. I've actually created a video to show you multiple offer strategies I use to build an offer that's mathematically sound and, most importantly, emotionally no regrets for my clients. I'll put that link up here, and I'll also put it in the comments. Check it out. And as always, feel free to book a free consultation with me on my website, and we will review your specific situation to come up with a strategy that is tailored to you. Okay. So what's the takeaway from all this market info I've given you today? Here it is. The market is not one size fits all, and it never really was. A town matters, your home type matters, your price point definitely matters, and the combination of all three of those things tells you which market you're actually in. If you're a seller, use this data to price with confidence, not emotion. And if you're a buyer, don't write off the market because of a headline, but don't walk in underprepared either. And if you want to talk through what this means for your specific move, buying or selling, or just figuring out the timing of all of it, schedule a free consultation on my website. The link is in the description below, and we'll come up with a plan that is tailored specifically to you. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you want this data every month. I break it down the same way so you can actually track what is changing month over month. And drop a comment below. Are you seeing what I'm seeing out there, or does your experience feel totally different? I'd love to hear about it. All right, that's all I got for you this week. Thanks for hanging in there to the end. I'll see you next week. Bye.